All right, this is the last section of review that could show up on our next assessment. So let's take a look and see if you can handle these. So the first one is a 16 to the power of 3/4, and we want to look at rewriting that 16 as a base. So grab a calculator and do some practice. Always look for the lowest numbers possible. Is 16 a result of 2 times 2 times 2 a certain number of times? Is it 3 times 3 times 3 a certain number of times? Practice on the calculator and see what you get. Good job, you got it. 16 is also known as 2 to the power of 4. And then that's going to be to the power of 3/4. And then when we look at that, we realize that this denominator, this 4, can cross out. So that just leaves us 2 to the power of 3, or 8. How'd you do? Okay, next one's just multiplying a binomial. 2x times x, negative 14x, plus 5x minus 35. Combine those middle terms, and we're done. Remember, you can also do the box method on this if you don't prefer FOIL. The next one, part C, I really think you should simplify inside first. Like, see this 100 divided by 4? Well, 100 divided by 4 is just 25. And then see the x to the negative 8 and the x to the 8 on the bottom? Well, those want to go together. They don't want to be separated. These 8 on the bottom want to be subtracted from the top. It's actually going to become x to the negative 8 minus 8, that subtract rule. And then y to the 10 minus 3. And then that's all going to be to the power of 1/2, or the square root of it, however we want to think of it. So let's go one more step. 25x to the negative 16, y to the 7th, and now that's to the power of 1/2. So that's been simplified a little bit. It's going to make it easier to shower that power. Well, isn't anything to the power of 1/2 the square root? What is the square root of 25? Right? It's just 5. So let's just do that. Square root of 25 is just going to give us a 5 in our answer. Well, x to the negative 16, that's going to want to move downstairs, but remember that that power of 1/2 is going to divide it by 2. So it's going to become negative 16, take half of that. So it's going to become x to the negative 8. Well, what does x to the negative 8 want to do? You got it. It wants to move downstairs. In our final answer, it's repeatedly dividing. Finally is y to the 7th. And 1/2 of that, well, there's going to be a remainder. 7 divided by 2, that's going to go in 3 times. So y to the 3rd, but that's going to leave you the square root of y, because you can't pull that extra remainder 1 out. So you might want to also think of this as 7 to the 6/2, and then y to the 6/2, y to the 1/2. What does 6/2 give us? Y to the 3rd, y to the 1/2. Nothing can happen there, so it just goes back under the radical. I don't know if that helps. But so that guy's done now. How'd you do on letter C? Oh, look at letter D, imaginary numbers again. 4 times 3, 12i. Remember that we treat the I like a variable at the beginning. Then we combine any like terms, and we have to deal with this I squared thing. Definition of I squared is that it equals negative 1. So here I go. 15 is just 15. 12 minus 5 is going to be 7 i's. And negative 4 is going to multiply by definition by negative 1. So 15 plus 4 gives me a final answer of 19 plus 7i. Remember that our complex numbers have both a real and an imaginary part. And that's what makes it so complex. Okay, next is going to be just multiplying a binomial again. There's no letter weird i's, so it's just 5x squared plus 2x minus 40x minus 16. We're going to combine those like terms. That gives me negative 38x in the middle, and that's a 5x squared out front. There it is. Did you get it? Remember, you can do the box method on that too if you prefer. Last but not least, don't forget that if there's something squared, we can stretch it out twice. and then do the box method or the FOIL method. So we're going to get 49x squared plus 28x plus 28x again, double that middle term, plus 16 at the end. Add that up. What's this called again? That's right. It's a perfect square trinomial. Look at it, how perfect it is. There's that guy, 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 and finally there's that guy. How'd you do?